everybody, and welcome back to my channel, For You From Eve. Welcome or welcome back in case you're new here. My name is Olivia Eve. I upload podcast episodes every single Friday, and I upload vlogs every single Sunday onto my YouTube. I post all over social media on my Instagram and my TikTok. Everything is at For You From Eve. And recently I've been getting into the video podcast game a little bit. I normally only did audio podcasts, and now I'm kind of diving into the video podcast. I felt like because I was vlogging, it was only appropriate to also try video podcasts too. We're in a super cozy setting today. We are in my bedroom. A lot of you guys just love my bedroom. You love the vibes in here. I also love the vibes in here. I love prioritizing my space, whether it's my bedroom, my office, wherever I am under my roof. I love to prioritize. So I figured we'd do a cute little cozy vibe. I got my boy Champ here, my little teddy bear next to me. But if you're just listening to the audio version, don't worry. You can still follow along with the episode. I am used to doing just audio versions anyway, so this is more my speed, but I just figured I would try something new out, which I've been trying out recently. Before we get into today's episode, I just want to ask all of you that you please listen to my ads and my sponsors mid-roll all the way through. I know that's not an easy ask, but it helps the show so much. And when you help the show, you help me. And the more you help me, the more I can help you. So please listen to my sponsors and my ads all the way through. Follow me on all my social medias linked down below. Like the video, like the podcast, download it, follow me, all that good stuff. It helps my channel out so much. And when you help me out, I can help you out right back. I have been having a lot of changes in my life recently that I do kind of want to talk to you guys about if you are invested in me as a creator and as a podcaster and just as a woman and a human in general. There's a lot I want to update you guys on. So recently, I actually just signed with a new social media agency called the Creator Society, if you guys have heard of them, and I'm super, super excited about it. It will be a social media agency. It will be where I get all of my brand deals, and I will start creating content for all the brand deals that I do, which is really exciting because I kind of just started in the social media world not too long ago, and it's been really, really fun. It's been treating me nice and good. It's definitely been keeping me busy, and because I do a lot of freelance social media as well, I feel like I wear so many different hats. So I do a ton of freelance social media, I do my own social media, and then of course I have my podcast, and now I just started doing YouTube vlogs as well. I brought on a YouTube editor for my vlogs, which has been super helpful, but I feel like there's been a lot on my plate recently, a lot that I've been juggling, and just a lot more work to be done, which is obviously a blessing and it's such an amazing thing, but it could definitely feel super overwhelming at times as well. I feel like I've been a bit more tired recently, and I don't know if it's because of the workload or something's going on with my hormones or there's something in the air, but recently I've just been feeling extremely tired, have not been able to wake up early. I've been having like a few stomach issues. I don't know what is going on with me, you guys, but also I've seen a lot of TikToks of other women also saying that they're struggling with stomach issues and their sleeping patterns and not waking up that early. So I definitely do not feel alone. So if you're also feeling that way, I relate to you so hard. I do not know why it has been so difficult for me to wake up recently. And my sleeping has not been 100% either. Last night, I actually had such a horrible sleep, and it sucks because I've been getting tired fairly early. Like I get tired at like 7 p.m., but then I wake up a little bit and then I get retired again at like 9:30, 10, which would be the ideal time to sleep, would be anywhere from like 10 to 11 p.m. for my body. But for some reason I get tired, and then after I get tired, like I wake up and it's like, it just sucks because I feel like I wake up in the middle of the night, and like last night especially, I kept tossing and turning. It was so hot in my room. I had the window open, so I was having like an allergy attack in my sleep, and I just couldn't fall back asleep because I was so hot, and I had the most horrible sleep ever. So I wanted to originally wake up at 7 a.m. so that I could go to the gym earlier, walk, and then go to my bar class at 8:15, and I didn't end up waking up until 9:30, 9:45, which completely just set my day off the wrong way. I do definitely feel really tired. It's 2:30 right now, and if you girls know, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. is like the crash hour for a woman's hormones. So I'm like struggling to stay awake right now. I was going to make this only an audio podcast episode, and then I was like, no, like I committed to video. Who cares if you're tired? Suck it up, make another coffee. That's exactly what I did. So I have my other coffee here, and I'm sitting in front of a video podcast because that is what I wanted to commit to. I am really excited for today's episode. I also just want to shout out anyone who is watching me on YouTube. Thank you so much for all the recent love on YouTube. I feel like my community has just been growing so much on here, and I'm just very, very, very grateful for it. And just YouTube is one of those things that I love to see other people do. So now that I can do it, I love it so much. So it's just been really amazing. It's been really fun. I've been posting super consistently on YouTube Shorts and then my vlogs as well. And then, of course, my beautiful podcast, my number one podcast. I love, 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 love my podcast. If you guys know me, you guys have been listening to me. It's been 4 years of this podcast for you from Eve, and I love it. I love what I do. I love this show. Now, I want to get into today's episode. If this is your first impression of me, like talking, you're like, why is this girl still talking about herself? I do talk about myself quite a lot on this show, but that's only because I like to have a little bit of a relationship with you guys. And I like you guys to know who you're getting advice from, who you're listening to, who you're following. Like, that's really important to me. So that's why I like to talk a little bit about my life. There was a point where I stopped talking about my life in a whole, and everyone was like, girl, we miss you. Like, what's going on with this? What's going on with your boyfriend? What's going on with your job? Like, all these people like were asking all these questions. So I feel like I want to keep you guys in the loop with my life as well. We will get into the topic, of course, but I do think it's also important to know like who you are getting advice from. Like, am I getting advice from someone that I can relate to or someone that's not relatable? And I just like to be super realistic. This show is all about becoming the best version of yourself, but in a super realistic way. I don't wake up every single morning at 5 a.m. and go to the gym and drink my lemon water. Like, I don't do all of that. I do the best I can, and I'm always working to improve myself. And there's always new habits I'm trying to incorporate in my routine, but by no means am I perfect. And that's why I do get on this podcast and I tell you guys that I didn't wake up till basically 10 a.m. this morning. I didn't get out of bed till about 11 a.m. this morning, and I started my day on the wrong foot and super late and not at all what I intended. But I like to be realistic with you guys. I like to be raw. And guess what? It's 2:45 and I'm still having a productive, great day. And I'm going to have a great week because that's what I'm deciding to have. Now, when it comes to my personal life, honestly, what I would say is kind of going on right now is I've just been extremely busy with working. So, of course, with my podcast, with the YouTube, with the social media, all that stuff. I do a lot of freelance social media as well, which means I have a lot of brands that I work with. So I have a lot of brands and I'll manage their content briefs, their social media. I'll help them out with scheduling, planning, captions, hashtags, all that good stuff. So I have a few freelance social media clients that I do that for. And then I have my own social media brand deals. And then, of course, I have my podcast that I do. So things have been really, really busy for me. And I'm also currently planning a party for June. This June, I will be turning 25, and me and my significant other are also going to be taking a very big step in our relationship in June. It's like a cultural party where it's basically an engagement party, but in my culture, before you get a ring on your finger, you get a cross around your neck. Not this cross, this is my grandma's cross, but basically my significant other will give me a cross and we'll make this huge engagement party, ceremony party out of it. And we have that coming up in June, and I'm planning it right now. So me and my significant other are planning it together, but like I'm more involved in the planning than he is, which is totally okay. But I've just been super busy with planning as well, waiting for a dress. I definitely want to keep you updated on all that stuff with pictures and stuff. I will be posting all over my Instagram, of course, but I'm waiting for my dress to get made right now. I still have to pick out shoes, figure out hair, figure out makeup, like all this different stuff. So I'm a little bit overwhelmed. I'm a little bit stressed out, but I'm going to be okay and I'm going to figure it out. But that's kind of also been keeping me super busy as well. So it's been a little bit harder than usual to be consistent and to always be motivated. Like, I was not motivated to record today, but I know that this is something I love doing. And once I picked up that mic, I would be excited to be doing it. And the weather is beautiful and sunny out. And I'm just really grateful. I'm going to be in this city a ton this month, like seriously, so much. So I want to make sure that I'm also vlogging all of that content. But I'm going to shut up now. Now we're going to shut the hell up and we're going to dive into this episode. That was enough yapping about me. If you enjoyed the yapping about me, thank you so much. But if you don't, I truthfully apologize. But I'm super excited for today's episode. We're going to be talking about controlling your brain, how your environment controls your brain, how your brain is your For You page, how your brain is filled with things that you fill it with. There's so many different topics I have. I have my computer in front of me. If you guys can see, it's right here. Laptop case, Heaven Mayhem. But I have my computer in front of me, and then I also have my phone as well because I have some extra notes on my phone. I have my phone as well because I have some extra notes on my phone. So I have my phone and my laptop here for all the podcast notes. And of course, I have my water bottle because I be yapping and I need to stay hydrated. This is a like knockoff Stanley from Amazon, by the way. I should get like a little table on my bed because I think I'm really loving this little setup on my bed. I know that you guys really love my bed and I really love my bed. So I feel like this is a really good setup for the podcast. I feel like it just looks super like we're comfy, we're cozy, we're talking. So let's just get into the episode. Let me know how you feel about this setup. Let me know if you like video or audio. I love all the feedback, so just let me know. Okay, so let's talk about being in control of your mindset. Are you somebody that believes that you control your mindset? Or are you somebody that says, no, I can be surrounded by all the negative, but I'll still stay positive. The people around me don't affect me. My environment doesn't affect me. I know so many people who are very against the fact, and they don't believe the fact that their environment affects them. They refuse to believe it, and they're in denial about the fact that the people that they hang out with actually have an effect on them. I feel like a lot of the time we can get in denial about the fact that we've outgrown the environment that we're in, or we've outgrown friend groups, or we've outgrown relationships, because saying goodbye to something that you've known for so long and saying goodbye to a comfort zone that you've been in your whole life is not an easy thing to do. And so it's much easier to just sit back and say, no, it's okay. That's not affecting me whatsoever. I'm good. I can keep moving in this direction. And it's the truth is you probably can't. You probably cannot grow in a relationship that's holding you back. You probably cannot grow with friends who hold you back, with a job that holds you back. I think it's really important to realize what kind of life it is that you want to live, what kind of woman that it is that you want to be. And once you realize that, you need to start detaching yourself from things that are going to hold you back from that, because I don't think we realize how much we are in control of our brains. Now, your For You page, right? Your discovery page, whatever it is, your Instagram reels, your TikTok, whatever the hell, the sponsors. The reason you get certain sponsors on your page and certain videos on your For You page is because the algorithm learns you. The algorithm knows what you talk about, what you engage with, who you interact with. It can track all of that on the internet. Your brain is the same exact way. Your brain can track down the things that you value, the things that you say out loud, the things that you are hearing and consuming. Your brain is taking track of all of that. So your thoughts are being controlled by the things that you naturally consume. Whether you would decide to consume it or not, whether conversations are just background noise to you, your brain is actively consuming it. And when your brain is actively consuming something, it's going to continue rewiring and rerunning those thoughts in your head. So if you're with a group of friends and all they do is talk down on themselves, and all they do is gossip, and all they do is complain about the way that they look and not having enough money, not having enough, I don't even know, hair on their head or whatever the hell it is, if that's all you're around, then you're going to start to slowly start thinking those things about yourself, or you're going to start slowly picking things out about yourself that you don't like. Why? Because you are surrounded with people that are doing the same exact thing. So you might think you're much better than the people around you, or that you're above them. But the truth is, no matter what you may think, when those people are filled up, when those people are around you and that's all that they talk about, that is what you are consuming. Whether you think you're consuming it or not, you are consuming it. And your brain is rewiring based off the things that it's hearing. Now, when your brain is rewiring based off things that it's hearing, it's going to start to naturally start thinking those same things, or start thinking in the same mindset. Your brain is going to have a mindset shift. Now, if you are surrounded by people who are always talking about how they can grow and how they can be better, and you're always searching up influencers and podcasters who talk about self-improvement and self-growth, your brain is going to start to rewire to every single day. It's going to have a mindset shift of how can we grow today? How can we make the relationship with ourselves better, the relationship with our partners better? We are so affected by the things that are around us in our environment. And I don't think we realize the power of our environment. And it really does shape your thoughts. It shapes your reality. It shapes the way you move. It shapes the way you speak. Whether you believe it or not, whether you see it or not, it is actively happening in your life. Your workspace, your home space, that is affecting your productivity. That is affecting your motivation. That is affecting your mood. If I were to sit in a messy bedroom every single day, I would not have the motivation to get out of bed, to put on my workout clothes, to go to the gym, to come home and work and be productive. If my office was super messy, I would not want to go inside and work in it. I actually have an office right next to my bedroom, but it's been like a storage space. And it's I don't want to work in a space that's like a storage space. I want to work in a space that I love. And I have not felt that in that room in a while, which is why I work in my bedroom, because I prioritize my bedroom. I clean my bedroom. I decorate my bedroom. I take care of my bedroom. And that's why I work in here. I could put that same priority into my office so that eventually I work into my office. But you need to realize that your space is going to influence your mindset. It's going to influence your mood. It's going to influence your motivation. It's going to influence how productive you are. A clean space is a clean mind. So think of your internal environment. the roof you live under? Are you in an environment where you feel safe, where you feel calm? Your bedroom should be the place that you wake up in and that you sleep in, right? It should be a place you feel motivated, you feel safe, you feel happy. That's how you should feel in your bedroom. If you have your own space, you should feel amazing in your kitchen. You should feel productive in your kitchen. You should just feel good in your car. Make sure your car is clean. If you have an office space at another office and you don't work from home, you should make sure that it's customized to a place where it makes you feel better about yourself. It is so crucial to take care of your environment. There's so many aspects of your environment. It's either your home, like we just talked about. Your environment is also your family and your friends that you surround yourself with. Who do you spend the weekends with? Who do you spend the weekdays with? Your environment is also your coworkers. Are they negative? Are they positive? Do you need to distance yourself from them? Your environment is your relationship, the person you're spending a lot of time with, the person that you're speaking to every day. Your environment is the town you live in. It's the job that you're at. Are you staying in the town you live in because you're comfortable or because you have no choice? Are you staying at the job that you're at because you're comfortable or because you're scared to see what else is out there? Comfort is going to kill you. So when it comes to your environment, you want to try to step out of that comfort zone as much as you can. I'm not allowed to move out until after I'm married. I have no urge to move out until after I'm married. I think that if I was raised differently, maybe I would have that itch to live on my own before I was married and have that independence, but it's also not something I craved. I felt like I got enough independence in my life where I didn't need to live alone as well. And I'm more so excited to go from my parents' roof to my husband's roof. So for me, I never had that urge. However, if you are also in that same boat where you've kind of stuck with your family your whole life and you're like, well, Liv, how am I supposed to leave my hometown? I can't leave my parents. Change the space that you're in. Change the job that you're in. Change the people you hang out with. Change the way your car smells. Like, there's little things that you can do to step out of your comfort zone. It doesn't always need to be this drastic change where you're flying somewhere or you're moving to your own apartment and you're spending all this money. You still need to be smart and conscious about the decisions you're making, but you do really need to prioritize the environment that you're in and what you're surrounding yourself by. You need to start understanding your brain's filtering system, how your brain processes and filters thoughts and how it moves forward after it has processed those thoughts. Your brain prioritizes information in ways that you might not even realize. You can be in complete control of your thoughts if you allow yourself to be, and if you shift the way your mind processes information. Your mind is going to process information no matter what. That's what it does. It's a brain. It's going to remember things. It's going to hold on to things. It's going to let go of things. But you have to be sure to sometimes beat your brain a little bit. Now, this seems a little bit easier said than done. If there's a situation that's upset you, and we've all related to this, like me personally, I've been upset by situations and it's been so hard for me to let them go, where no matter what, they pop up in my brain and I simply cannot stop them from popping up in my brain. Now, if you relate to that and there's a lot of thoughts that you can't stop from popping up into your brain, how about you let them pop up into your brain, but you switch the narrative on it? How about you speak back to yourself? So let's say, for example, this is like such a random example. This is not the situation that I'm talking about, but this is just something I thought of. Let's say someone were to come up to you tomorrow, one of your good friends, and they're like, hey, I don't think you're good looking or pretty at all. This isn't just because I think this is all woman value or anything like that. This is just the first example that came up to my head. So let's say one of your friends comes up to you and they're like, I don't think that you're attractive whatsoever. I think you're my ugliest friend. I don't know. This is like a shitty example. Now, let's say your friend said that to you 3 years ago, right? You're still friends. You decided to forgive them. You decided to like get past it. But every single time you see them, that thought pops into your head at least for a second. Or every single time they compliment you, that thought is reminded back in your head. Let's say you just cannot get that thought out of your head. It's been 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And for some reason, you just can't shake it. It's like, it might not affect you the same way that it did 3-4 years ago, but it's still coming up in your head. You can talk back to that thought in your head. So next time that thought comes up in your head, you can respond to it in your mind. You could respond to that narrative and say, they don't think that way about you. That is not the reality. Or they didn't know what they were talking about, or they didn't mean it, or we have to let that go. It's either let it go or let them go. So what are you going to choose? If you speak back to your brain will start to also process the way that you're speaking back to it. And it can start to filter out those systems and process it out. You need to kind of imagine as if it's like you, your brain, and your heart, right? You're in the middle, you have your brain on the left, your brain on the heart. In some situations, you're going to use both. In some situations, you're only going to use one. And in some situations, you have to look back and use neither and use just yourself as like a soul and say, you know what, I'm going to knock out this, I'm going to knock out that, and I'm going to switch this narrative around. You have to physically visualize things this way in order to fully grasp them and understand them. But I'm telling you, when you realize the way that your brain's filtering system works, you will also realize how to respond back to your brain, how to switch the narrative, and how to switch those mindsets. That is the hack to switching your mindset and switching the narrative, because it is not easy. It does not happen overnight. It doesn't happen because someone tells you to. It simply happens over time once you learn how to speak back to yourself. Let's talk about social media consumption. How much social media are you consuming a day, and is it affecting your reality? Is it affecting your reality in a positive way or in a negative way? I'll be honest, I feel like I haven't been negatively impacted by social media in a really long time, especially since it's been my job. I would say that I have been negatively affected by social media maybe in the past when there were certain other things that I valued. But as of recently, I feel like I see social media as a workspace, not even as like a fun space or something that I really am dying to do or that I'm like super excited for. I will say that when it comes to my favorite like influencers and content creators, I get really excited when they push out new content. So if my new favorite YouTuber puts out like a new vlog or something like that, I'll get excited. Or if my favorite TikToker puts out a new morning routine, I get excited. Those are things that excite me for sure. But I do also think that if it gets to a point where social media is affecting me in a negative way, I know when to pull away from it. But I just don't think I have felt that in a long time. I feel like for me, social media really has just been something to help me grow. Like I feel like I use social media to grow. I use it to get ideas for my own content, for my podcast. I use it to learn ways to improve myself. I use it kind of more as like an informational outlet and then also a place to get inspired. However, I think you need to also realize, is the influence of social media shaping your reality, and is it shaping it in a negative way or in a positive way? What are you consuming on social media on a daily basis? Are you consuming a girl you used to be friends with? Like, what is it that you're consuming on social media, and how is it affecting you? Because you can use social media to your advantage. You can use social media as a way to monetize yourself. You can use social media as a way to learn, as a way to connect and network, or you can use social media in a way where it is pulling away from you and you are comparing yourself and you are taking away from your own life because of somebody else's. How are you using social media, and how is it affecting your reality? And once you kind of look through your For You page and your Discovery page, you'll be able to see what type of content that you are regularly consuming on social media. And I think it's going to be pretty obvious to you whether it's a positive or negative one. Along with kind of the positivity of social media, you need to realize, are you feeding your brain? And if you are, what are you feeding your brain with? You need to just stop thinking about like just physical diets and think more of a mental diet as well. The same way that when you want to lean out and tone out and eat cleaner, you clean out your fridge, you get new clean groceries, and you start to fill your body with cleaner foods. Now put that in a way where you are now making your brain a healthier place to be. So forget about making your body a better place to be for a second and just think about your brain. If you wanted to put your brain on a quote strict diet and on a mental diet, what would you do? Because when you want to put your physical body on a diet, you clean out your fridge, you buy new groceries, you start going to the gym, you start to drink lemon water, you start to fill yourself with the good, and you start to remove the bad. Now, if you were to do a mental diet, what would you do differently? You would probably do a brain dump. You would probably remove all these things in your brain that are constantly hurting you, that are negative thoughts, and you'd probably work on trashing those out of the way. And you would try filling it up with new things, maybe meditation, maybe journaling, maybe a new friend, maybe a new podcast, maybe a good book, whatever it is. You would fill it up with things that are going to help it grow and that are going to help it make and that are going to make it feel better. And that is a mental diet. A mental diet is removing the things that are currently in your brain, or at least trying to, and instead incorporating and adding new things into your brain that will make you feel better. You can learn how to nourish your brain with the right conversations, the right books, the right podcasts, the right social media people. Those are ways that you can feed your brain. Being in nature and going on a walk with no headphones in and just taking a break from the inside world and focusing on the outside world. There's so many things that you can do to give your brain a little bit of a cleanse and a diet, if you will. I feel like saying mental diet is like the smartest way to put it, because I think when we think of diets, we just think of removing unhealthy foods and adding healthy foods. And it's like, well, if you were to do a mental diet, you would do the same thing, but instead you'd be focusing on conversations and your social media and the people around you. Now let's talk about how your brain chooses what to focus on. This has so much to do with what you are used to consuming. So if you grew up in a household that was always super negative and everybody was fighting and everybody was always going at each other's necks and like nothing worked out for your family financially, career-wise, whatever the hell it was, love life, you're going to naturally be raised and grow up the same way. Even if there are things that could have stopped it. There's people you could have met along the way. I do think that change is possible for everybody, but I think at the end of the day, if you are accustomed to a certain way, you're probably going to stay that way for the rest of your life, or it's going to be really, really hard for you to break that pattern. So when it comes to your brain choosing what to focus on, you have to realize your brain is going to see the things it wants to see. It's going to think the things it wants to think because that is what it is accustomed to. For example, so many women now, we meet men that are very emotionally challenged. They are emotionally challenged. It is very hard for them to open up. And why? Why is it hard for the guy that you're talking to open up? Why is it hard for him to admit that he likes you? Why is it hard for him to let himself out there? Because he probably was raised not doing that. He probably was raised not being allowed to talk about his feelings. Maybe he only saw his parents argue and not communicate. Maybe he never saw his parents say sorry to each other. So growing up, the past 20, 30 years of his life, that's what he was accustomed to. And now you're coming into his life 25 years later, and he's the same way that he's always been. It's going to be very hard for you to change a pattern that's been going on his whole entire life. So a lot of the time we get very aggravated with the fact that we cannot make people care the way that we care, but that's the way that they have been since they were oh so young. So it's like insane to think that you are going to have the power to change somebody that's been systemed and programmed the same way since they were born. It's what they've been surrounded by. Their brain chooses it. Their brain chooses what to view, what to see, how to act, how to speak, what to think, and what to focus on. Their brain makes the decision on, we're going to focus on the negative because we've only ever focused on the negative. We're going to focus on being a realist and being realistic about every situation than being optimistic because they were never surrounded by that. So why would they all of a sudden want to start incorporating that into their life? Their life has been going just fine the past 25 years, thinking a certain way. Why are they going to change it? When it comes to decision making, it's because our brain expects things to go a certain way. So if you start talking to somebody, let's say you've only ever been in failed relationships, failed situationships, every time you talk to somebody, it's going to be very hard for you to remain optimistic and hopeful that that one is going to work out because the past 20, 30 years, however long you've been dating, you've only ever been disappointed. So why all of a sudden would your brain switch and say, yeah, we're not going to be disappointed this time. Let's be hopeful. It's going to be more difficult to be positive about a situation and decide to be positive because your brain has not had to do that before. Your brain has always gotten excited, gotten their hopes up, and then been disappointed. So at a certain point, your brain's just going to switch. It's going to switch. It's going to have a shift. It's going to switch to, let's go into this not being excited because every time we're excited, we get let down. So your brain's going to make that little switch. And when your brain makes that little switch, now it's going to change the way you make decisions. It's going to change how much you want to open up to this person. It's going to change how much you let this person in. And that might end up into you self-sabotaging because it's what your brain is accustomed to. So if your brain starts to get something different, it might try to self-sabotage it because it's not familiar with that feeling. When you are used to chaos, you're raised in chaos, and that's what you're accustomed to. You're programmed to work with chaos. The second something or somebody calm comes into your life, you're going to do your best to self-sabotage it and ruin it before it ruins you because it is not what you're used to. And sometimes we often forget the things that we're not used to is normally the things that we've been lacking our whole entire life, and God has finally given us an opportunity to receive it. So when God finally gives you the opportunity to be with somebody who brings you peace and who brings you calmness and who just slows down your life and just blurs out the outside noise, a lot of the time that can be scarier than being with somebody that brings you that chaos because the chaos is what you're used to. You might have felt more at home with your chaos than with the calm, but you don't realize that you're trying to go back to a place that you no longer fit in. You're going back into a place that is not meant for you. So I think it's very difficult for us to choose the calm over the chaos simply because we are used to the chaos. We're used to the negative. We're used to things not working out. For us to be programmed a different way would take a lot of work. It would take a lot of tricking your brain a little bit into thinking that things are going to work out. So when it comes to programming your brain and realizing that you control your brain, it's not just a journal entry. It's not just a meditation. It's not just a podcast episode. It's daily practices. It's switching your mindset when you're at your lowest. It's even though you're at your lowest and you're having the worst day ever, it's being able to look up from that day and say, this is the worst day ever, but let me try in this moment to shift it. Because the mindset shifts don't just happen when you're in a good mood and it's sunny out and you're having the best day ever. The mindset shifts happen when you're down in the gutter, you're having a horrible day, it seems like nothing can go right, that is when you practice your mindset shifts. And it's not easy. It's not easy to reprogram ourselves, but I promise you, you will have enough motivation in life one day to want to do that. You will feel as though reprogramming your brain is the only way to a different life and to a better life. And I will say that I do think a lot of times, sometimes people are scared of that better life. They're scared of being in a happy relationship. They're scared of being in a healthy relationship. They're scared of having someone to care about. They're scared of actually getting the life that they want because that contains stepping out of your comfort zone, which is very scary to people. I will say, like, in order to be your happiest and be your most fulfilled and to switch that mindset and reprogram yourself, you have to step out of your comfort zone. You have to talk to people you don't normally talk to. You have to take a job that maybe you didn't think you were good enough for. There's so many things that you have to do in order to reprogram yourself. And this doesn't mean switch your entire personality and become a whole different person, unless it does, I don't know. But you just need to realize that you are in full control of your mindset. It's not going to happen overnight, but over time, you will realize how you can shift your mindset, shift your brain, and start to switch the things around you. You can switch the things you consume. You can switch your environment up. And those daily practices of switching up your consumption is going to start to refresh and cleanse out your brain. That is how I'm going to end today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys loved it. I obviously love doing these little video cozy podcasts for you guys. I'm really, really grateful that you've decided to click onto this episode. Thank you so much for clicking onto it. Thank you for supporting me. Please make sure to download the episode, listen to my sponsors, use all my codes, follow me on my social media, all that good stuff, and just engage with my content. I've been posting so consistently. I post like every single day, multiple times a day on my social media. I've been super on top of it, so definitely make sure you go give it a listen. Let me know what other content you guys want to see from me. I always like to go through my DMs every here and there to kind of just go through the topics you guys want me to talk about. So let me know what you guys want me to talk about. And I hope you guys have an amazing and safe weekend. And I will talk to you next week. Don't forget to watch my new YouTube vlog coming out on Sunday. Bye. Mwah.